All right, tonight we're talking about what does the Bible say about the end times. I thought we would just, since the church finished that, kind of do just pick up any pieces that are left over, see if there's any other things that we need to talk about tonight. So that's what we're doing. And so I'm going to talk tonight just about the idea that when Ashley was preaching, he's talking about we're in the last days, and why I believe that we're in the end of the last days. Just as you read through Revelation and see some of the stuff that's happening there, and you see what's happening in our world today, it makes me go, wow, I think we're getting very close. So, first of all, talk about the land. When God was talking to Abraham, he gave him a promise and said, the whole land of Canaan. He took him to that land of Canaan and said, okay, everything you see here, that's yours. But he says, I will give it to you as an everlasting possession, meaning it's yours forever. You and your descendants after you, and I'll be their God. So the land that was called Canaan is now called Israel, was given to the Israelites forever by God. Okay? Now, I have to remember which way I did this. So there's a prophet. So number one, that was there. Number two, we're just going to kind of see the history of the land and then the history of the nation of Israel. So in Isaiah, just a prophecy about what's going to happen. The Lord will reach out his hand a second time to reclaim the remnant of people, the remnant of Jewish people that is left of his people from all over the world. He will assemble the scattered people of Judah from the four quarters of the earth. So what happened was, after Jesus died, rose again, went to heaven, around 70 AD, the Romans came and destroyed Jerusalem. And then that scattered the Jewish people throughout the world. Okay? And then this prophecy says God is going to bring them back to the land, which is an interesting prophecy because they were in the land when this prophecy was written. And he's saying, hey, I'm going to gather the Jewish people from all over the entire world, despite the fact that they're here right now. So it's kind of a weird prophecy if you were in the day. That's why a lot of prophecy doesn't make sense at the time. It's a lot easier to see the prophecies after they've happened, because it would be hard to predict that, because you're like, well, I don't understand. So the Romans destroyed Jerusalem. They're scattered throughout the world. And then that land, after that scattering, and then eventually over the centuries, it just became a very desolate land. And that's exactly what happened, that God had told Moses that this was going to happen. So, first 5 books of the Bible: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. Moses wrote those. Okay? Deuteronomy is basically Moses' farewell speech. He's led the nation of Israel for 40 years, got them all the way back to the promised land. He doesn't get to go into the promised land, so he gets them all the way to the promised land. Joshua's going to take him over, take the next step. So Deuteronomy is Moses just kind of recapping everything that's happened. And he sets out before them, hey, if we do what God says, you're going to be blessed. If you do what God doesn't say, what God says not to do, you're going to be cursed. Okay? And so that's the background for this. Talking about, if you don't follow God, the land that you're in is not going to be a land flowing with milk and honey anymore. It's going to be a burning waste of salt and sulfur. Nothing planted, nothing sprouting, no vegetation growing on it. It will be like the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, which the Lord overthrew in fierce anger. So if you don't follow God, this land that you fought for and you're going to fight for and stuff, it's going to be awful. Okay? The interesting thing is, Mark Twain, we know him as a writer. He was also a traveler, and so he wrote in some of his travels. He wrote about the land of Israel in the 1800s. And he said, there's not a solitary village. There are 2 or 3 small clusters of Bedouin tents, but not a single permanent habitation. One may ride 10 miles hereabouts and not see 10 human beings. And he goes on and just says, what an awful wasteland this place is. And it's exactly what God had said was going to happen. Okay? And so in the 1800s, as late as the 1800s, that's what that land was like. World War I came. And at the end of World War I, there was a document written, the Balfour Declaration. And what it basically said was, hey, Jewish people throughout the world, we are going to give you some land and you can have a home nation again. And so the Balfour Declaration is saying, we're going to set aside this land for the Jewish people, okay? And so World War I helped prepare the land for the people. The land was set aside. They didn't live there yet, but it was set aside. They could go there and live and make that their new homeland. And then World War II happened and the Holocaust. And so millions of Jews were killed. At the end of World War II, basically Jewish people said, this ain't happening again. And so World War II really prepared the people for the land. And it's very interesting then, as you look at the population of Jewish people in the nation of Israel, just almost nobody lived in near that area. After World War II, you see a huge spike because the Jewish people from all over the world started moving in. And then there's just been a continual growth rate of Jewish people from all over the world going and moving into that land. Okay? The land now is a lot smaller. When you look at this area here, the green is not Jewish. If you've ever been there, Pam and I went there in 2009, and we had a Palestinian guide who took us different places. It was interesting just being on the bus. There's just so many interesting things about it. But if we would have had a Jewish guide, we would not have gone into Bethlehem because it's not in the Israelite side. It's not in the Jewish side of things. So we wouldn't have. But this is the land that they have now. When you look back to what it was supposed to be, you can see that they've given up a lot of that stuff over the years. They keep trading land for peace, and it keeps not working. So there's that. So the reason that all the history is there is because the prophecies were made. Number one, God had said, told Moses to tell the people, if you don't follow me, this place is going to be a mess. And you look throughout history, and they didn't follow God, and they got wiped out, and the place was a mess. And then the Isaiah prophecy that said, toward the end of time, the Jewish people are going to come back to their land. And most of us in this room, I mean, this happened in 1948. I mean, so this is real recent history that we are a part of. And when you read the prophecies in Revelation and the second coming prophecies, there's a Jewish people that have to be in the land for the second coming to happen. Well, we're getting there, right? So that's one thing, the land and the regathering of the Jewish people. When you read through Revelation, there's this weird little, well, there's a lot of weird things, but there's this one here in Revelation 11. It talks about 2 witnesses who were there, and they're proclaiming things about Jesus. They're preaching to people about Jesus. They're going to prophesy for 1,260 days. When they finish their testimony, they're going to be killed. Their bodies will lie in the street of the great city. For 3.5 days, men from every people, every tribe, every language, every nation will gaze on their bodies and refuse them burial. So, whoever these 2 witnesses are, they're preaching. The beast comes up and kills them. Esther talked about the beast. But this is the interesting thing. Everyone in the world can see their bodies for 3.5 days. We live in an era where we can FaceTime someone halfway across the world and just see it instantly. So we just have live access. It's not until satellite technology came in the last 50, 60 years however long satellites have been up there, that this prophecy even had a chance of being fulfilled. Just because of the overwhelming technology, it makes me go, yeah, I think we're getting very close. Buying and selling, a lot of people know about this, just the idea of the mark of the beast. He forced everyone, small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or their forehead, so no one could buy or sell unless he had the mark. Again, we live in the time of technology where you can today get a tattoo or you can get a chip implanted and use that as a credit card. And I can see this happening so easily because right now I use my credit card. I just take it and tap it, right? Well, the stores that I'm tapping my card, they don't know that it's me. So anyone could just steal my card and just tap it anytime, anywhere. And so what I think, this is totally Brian, what I think will happen is safety, security, that type of thing, get rid of credit cards and just put this on your hand, because you always take your hand with you. You always take your forehand with you shopping. Most of the time we take our heads with us when we shop. There's definitely times when we don't. But we live in the age, the technological age, where this is a reality. It already exists. In the thousands of years of recorded history, we live in the time when this can happen. Euphrates, I haven't heard people talk about this very much, but Revelation 16, the sixth angel poured out his bowl on the great river Euphrates, and its water was dried up to prepare the way for the kings from the east. So the Euphrates, if you read Genesis, there's 4 rivers in the Garden of Eden: the Tigris, Euphrates, and 2 others that nobody cares about because I don't remember. The Tigris and Euphrates. After the flood, those 2 rivers still were there, right? The Euphrates River has just always been there. If you Google Euphrates River drying up, you'll see that it's starting to dry up. I don't think the whole river is there yet, but in our days, in the last 5 or 10 years, this is drying up. And so there's a reason for it, but it's just interesting that that time is during our lifetime, like right here, right now. A large army. So there's a large army that's supposed to come. 200 million is the number of troops, and they're supposed to go across the dried up Euphrates River, okay? So 200 million is a big number just because it's not 200 million in population, it's 200 million fighting men. So when in history has the population graph hit into place where we could have an army of 200 million? Well, right now we're on the exponential side of that curve, right? If you have 1 billion people in China and 1 billion in India and however many's in Russia, I think it's supposed to be Russia and China that would send that army. Well, if we're not there, we're pretty close to having that size of a group that can come across. So, make sure I'm where I think I am. So, when we're talking about the end times, and Ashley said it really well, just the idea that we're in the last days. The last days started when Jesus died and rose again and goes till he returns. But these are some reasons I think that we're close to the end of the last days. And if that is true, so what? So we're close, then what? Well, it just begs 2 questions. Number 1, are you ready? If Jesus was to come back today, are you ready to meet him? I mean, right here, right now is like the best time ever, right? Because we're at church. And so it's like, oh God, when you came back, me and you, right? But in the rest of our daily life, are we ready? Are we looking with anticipation to the return of Jesus? And if we are if we're not, what do we need to do in our personal lives to get ready? What do we need to do to mature? Maybe it's not today. Maybe it's in the next 10 years or 20 years or 100 years. What what type of Christian maturity do we need to have to be ready for him when he comes? And number two, who do you want to take with you? That's what any study of prophecy, of the return of Jesus, it needs to come down to these two questions. Are we ready to meet him? And who do we want to take with us? Who can we start praying for that God will work in their heart and in their mind, and we can invite them to Easter or whatever it is, that we have the conversations. So we're not just talking to each other, we're also talking, preparing for the conversations we're having with people that don't know. So I'm not the best Bible scholar when it comes to Revelation, end time stuff. There's probably some of you guys that know a lot more about this than me, but to me, it just comes down to the practical side of, are we ready, and who do we need to tell? So there we go.